Hello traders, and welcome to the weekly outlook and setups volume 41. I am so glad to see you here. As always, we're going to have a look at the market, how it developed, what opportunities did we have, and what do we expect for the upcoming week. Actually, it was a pretty fire week. We had quite a lot of opportunities, massive continuations with all the vibe that is happening with the market. It is just plummeting, or as we can see here, exploding to the upside, and it's really perfect for continuations. I personally took a lot of trades. I will break down some of them in this video, so make sure to stay tuned. If you're new to the channel, it's all about trading. I post weekly analysis on the markets. I do educational videos as well, and more will be coming. So make sure to hit the subscribe button, turn on the notification bells in order not to miss the content. And if you already did, let's have a look at the market. As always, guys, starting from the DXY, the US dollar currency index. So from the previous week, what we observed is that we had this pretty nice bullish engulf on the weekly time frame right here, when price plummeted to the downside to grab a little bit of liquidity and tap into this very strong demand zone. So this week, what did we have? If you pay attention to the price again, we had a little pullback at the beginning of the week and then the massive explosion. So daily time frame, while we can see the market opened here on 16th of March, we just had this break of the EMA, a perfect test, which was a higher low on the 4-hourly time frame right here, and from then the market just decided to skyrocket to the upside. So we can see that it is like a straight line right now. We have had 3 consecutive days of bullish market. And I would expect a little bit of a pullback potentially. Oh, this is too red. And what I will be looking for on the 4-hourly time frame is structure. So for now, guys, you can see I was only buying this market. And why? Just because it was just simply trending up and we were creating beautiful structure to the upside. It was just beautiful. All the confidence were here to go long on the dollar. And yeah, we don't go long on the DXY, but we short the euro dollar, or go long on USD Swiss, something like this. So right now, what I can see at the end of the week, we had a little top right here. The market pulled back again to form a potential higher low, but then we failed to break above. So we have a potential double top formation right here. If I see the market continuing down, breaking below the structure, then I will possibly wait for a little pullback, lower high formation, and then I think we might have a little bit of a pullback to the downside, which will be a daily pullback. So always make sure to pay attention to the higher time frames. We might have maybe a 50%, maybe 61.8%. We shall see, but I will just follow the flow, guys. We follow the flow all week, and right now this uptrend might turn into a little bit of a downtrend. So let's see. As long as price stays above this kind of structural level right here, I will keep buying. But if we have a break and a retest, I will start selling dollars. So let's see. Euro dollar weekly time frame, we see the same right here. So we had a pretty nice continuation to the downside, not continuation, but a strong bearish engulf on the weekly time frame. We had a little pullback at the beginning of the week, and then we had a massive drop to the downside. So from the weekly time frame, I am perfectly bearish. We're closing below this area right here, which is pretty strong. So taking this into consideration and going to the daily time frame, we can see similar structure to the DXY. The market is very overextended. We had the market opening right here with that little pullback, which provided us with an amazing short opportunity right here. Flush to the downside, pullback, flush, pullback. So we had numerous opportunities. So the first one I took was from up here. This one I missed, but then we had this one. And the last day I did not trade it as well. So if I drop to the hourly time frame right here, we can see a beautiful double top. Not just a double top, but it even printed a little bit of a bearish sign right here. Then we had another one to scale in just right here. And from the top, what did we have? We had this corrective pattern right here, but the market was failing to break the last kind of lower high right here. Then we had massive flush to the downside, opportunities right here, opportunities on the breakout, and opportunities even right here where I took the trade. So I will not go too deep into entries because because it's slightly more complicated for this video. So daily time frame, a little bit overextended. What I would love to see on EU is a little pullback. So still we are trending completely perfectly, and I would just mark this area because this is my last structural point. And if I see a break above, then we can potentially have a look at some longs, but those longs, as I said on the DXY, will be a daily pullback. So we still remain short bias, but if I see a change of structure and if I see a change in momentum, I will start buying the market. However, there is the other scenario. We might pull back a little bit to form maybe a double top or a lower high, and we might continue to push to the downside. If this happens, I will continue selling. As for support and resistance, I don't like too much support and resistance because we can find it absolutely everywhere. But we have kind of a little zone right here, and the price maybe 1.06. 1.06 might be a level that the price may tap, because this is the only supportive region I see from the weekly time frame. So if we tap this one, we might have a little bit of a space to the downside, and maybe then we will initiate the pullback. So as always, guys, go with the flow and let's see how the market will develop. Euro Yen weekly time frame, a non-tradable pair, I would say, for this week. Pretty choppy. So we had this massive wick to the downside, finding support from that weekly key area. And then this week we had just a doji. So if I go to the daily time frame, we can see a complete mess. 5 days of up and down and long leg dojis, indecisions, pin bars, absolute mess. 4 hourly time frame, really unclear. I would not break the structure. I was skipping it the whole week because it is really unclear what is happening with this market. And when you don't understand, guys, if you just open your chart and you don't see your patterns, your whatever you trade, if you don't see it, just dump the chart, delete it. Because if I start drawing support and resistance, there will be actually everywhere. But if I am absolutely honest with you, what I will do is I will just draw this, and I will say this is a big consolidation. What I want to see is either a break above and a clear momentum, because I can say, yes, the market is trending up right now because we're having these pushes to the upside, but we are still staying below the kind of the strongest resistance levels at 119.5. So I want to see this violated, pull back, higher low, and then potentially an uptrend, because it's pretty hard to break the structure right here. EMA flat, consolidation, not a high probability pair, so let's skip it. Aussie USD weekly time frame, massive continuation as well. And another reason why I don't like support and resistance is that we had a pretty strong support right here, right from the weekly time frame, which was actually 2008. So if I get this right here, we can see that the price closed right here, and all the guys actually were thinking, oh, we should go long because the market is overextended, we should pull back, we are reaching massive support demand area on the weekly time frame. But no, the market just gave us a little pullback and massively flushed to the downside. Daily time frame, well, we can see that the pullback was actually a daily wick to the upside, which further indicated to us that the bears are just massively in control. Bearish, last like on Thursday we had a little bit of an indecision here, a little bit of confusion, and the last day we still have that bearish wick. So we can see the psychology of those candles is that the bulls are trying to take control, but the bears are just prevailing, and they cannot push the bulls cannot push the markets up. So what happened right here? First opportunity right here, lower high formation. Then we started to trend down, pretty unclear, and we had to get down to the hourly time frame to spot what the market is doing, because it was slightly it was very steep. It was hard to identify potential trades on this one, but we had those little corrective phases that we might have traded. If I go back to the hourly time frame, you see correction, and those are actually lower highs and pretty nice opportunities to trade. What is happening the last days? I can see something very interesting right here, because we had that push for a potential lower high, then we pulled back down but failed to continue, meaning that the bears are exhausting right now. So we have this kind of area right here. The market pushed and it looks like it created a higher high, and right now we are pulling back with a nice level being created right here. So a crucial thing I want to see at the beginning of the week is if this level will hold and if we are going to have some bullish momentum to continue up. On the daily time frame, we're pretty overextended, so we might have at the beginning of the week some pullbacks, but overall the trend is down. However, I see a potential shift right here, so potentially I will monitor from on my hourly time frame to see if the market is going to continue to create, as you can see on this occasion, higher lows. This kind of structure, higher highs, higher lows. Let's see if it's going to continue up. If not, we will have a bearish continuation and I will immediately change my bias. So let's see. Aussie Yen weekly time frame. So I am avoiding the JPYs because they're not that clear. As we can see here, we had a little bit of a continuation, but massive bullish pressure actually to close the week. So we started, let me see, 16th of March right here with a little pullback to the upside, and we kept rolling to the downside. Then on Thursday we had this massive wick, and right now we are pulling back. So it still looks quite sell biased to me. And if I drop down to the lower time frame, to the 4-hour time frame, the market opened just right here. And we actually had some nice selling opportunities. The first one was right here. Then it looked like we started to form a little bit of a consolidation, but actually the structure held right here as a potential lower high. Then we pushed down, but then massive explosion to the upside. And I identified that momentum up, and I was looking even for longs, but I did not get my trades. And what is interesting right now is that we pulled back, actually pull back, and we are looking slightly bullish. So make sure to keep that in mind, guys, for next week. We are above the EMA as well. We are retesting it, and I will potentially be monitoring for potential reversals because this structure has been broken. We even retested back the trend line. So we pushed up potential higher low at the EMA. 64 is the key area. That price is staying right now. So if I see some nice buying pressure at the beginning of the week, I will decide to go long. But if I see that the market will break below this kind of area and the market will continue with the overall trend, then I will look for shorts. The daily time frame is not that clear, so what matters on this pair is to see the momentum at the beginning of the week. NZD USD, similar to all the pairs, to all the USD pairs, massive continuation to the downside after a little pullback. So we are at actually broke below 0.60, which is a massive key area, and going below it exposes a lot of bearish pressure. And as we can see, the market plummeted another, 300 pips. So I am not going to look on the left again, but we have some potential support and resistance right here again from 2008. So going to the daily time frame to see what is happening now. This week, the market opened right here. We had a pullback and then a bearish engulf indicating potential continuation. And then this day was actually perfect, 18th of March, to grab the sell. And because then we had this pullback, and yeah, right now it seems like the structure is shifting, very similar to the Aussies as well, but they're actually very nicely positively correlated. So you can see the structure opened just right here, pullback, failure to break above, continuation down, little lower high, a little corrective pattern on the hourly time frame, just for you to see it. You see how the market is slowing down around here after creating this structural point, slow down, breakout, continuation, and a little stops right here that you can capitalize on the lower time frames. Then what we found the bottom at 55,500, perfectly right here. Let me just mark it quickly. 55,500. We pushed up, potential lower high, then we attempted to push down but failed actually, and currently sitting at this area. So it's still looking bearish to me, but what I want to see is how the market will react to this area right here, because this is forming a potential higher low. And if the market finds support from this and gives me some bullishness at the beginning of the week, then I will potentially be taking buys on this one, because I follow what the market is doing now. And if we potentially even break above this area, then I will be all in for buys. But again, keep in mind that from the daily time frame, the trend is completely down. But as a day trader, I try to focus on what is happening today, and I change my bias every day. So for now, what I want to see is on the open where the momentum will take place, we might have a strong bearish engulf to the downside, which will break this area. And if this happens, then I will be sell bias. But if we have a nice bullish engulf indicating buying pressure above the EMA as well, maybe even another one to indicate the continuation, and that's when I will be looking for a little pullback and then the continuation to the upside. So you can see it's pretty nice to plan your trade, and if it happens, make sure to execute. And again, guys, a Japanese yen pair, NJ, we did not have too nice price action right here. As you can see, the market even failed, the body failed to close below the previous week's low. So if I mark it like this and drop to the daily time frame, we can see it's even clearer. The market just filled all the range of that wick and left another wick at the end of the Thursday, actually, not Friday. So what we have here again is that momentum to the upside. So when I see this, I immediately start thinking that we might be potentially reversing. And the same structure right here, like the market is a little bit boring because it's all the same, those formations. We're having a push, we're having a pullback, and right now the market is struggling with this formation. So this is pretty clear, a consolidation market. What I want to see, guys, it's pretty simple. I want to see a nice explosion to the upside to indicate bullish pressure, a quick retest on the lower time frames, or just a clear hourly or 4-hourly retest, or a push to the downside to indicate a lower low of the structure, and then I'm going to continue with the sales. As for potential support and resistance levels, if I try to find one, well, I see a lot of selling pressure coming from that point right here, but the market has actually thrown a wick, so I would just keep in mind that wick. And then we have this kind of structural point where the gap was actually wasn't filled, so we might even expect the price to get to 67. And if I check this on the daily time frame, if we have a clear swing point, this is swing high, this is swing low, we can see we have actually a nice place for the daily to get to fill the gap, and then we can continue lower. So let's see if this will play out. All right, let's look at the GBPs, which were actually pretty nice to trade this week. So starting with GU, so what we saw the previous week is this massive bearish engulf, just telling us shorted. So massive engulf on the weekly time frame will most of the times result in a continuation. So what worried me most about this price is that it was at this kind of area and actually 1.23. So we had a little bit of a pullback and then the market just dropped. So what I can see here, so the market closed right here, opened on the 16th of March, which was actually a little pullback just to breathe a little bit, and then we just continued to fall. Very nice pair for continuations. You just have to be slightly careful and to wait for the shift first, and then try to get in. On the hourly time frame, again guys, we had this pullback, then bearish engulf. There is an opportunity right here where I think I got in. I'm not pretty sure if it's here or yeah, I'll lose a lot of time trying to find it. Then we came to the bottom right here, and then it got a little bit interesting. That is where I took a long trade, I believe, from right here. I'm going to show you right now. So what we saw on the market is that it printed that low, it pulled back, tried to push down, failed, pushed up and failed again. But then we had this evening star formation, so I thought, okay, we are going. But then what do we see here? Boom, pin bar, bullish engulf. And after the bullish engulf, if we drop to the lower time frames, let me see if I will be able to spot it. This whole bearishness, oops, not this one, this whole bearishness was invalidated. We had a push and just the market started to trend up. The opportunity was just right here because we had a little pullback continuation, and then I started to drop down structure to on the 15-minute break, retest again, and then we continued. So the opportunity was just right here. We had one even on the lower time frames, which I am not going to break on this video. So yeah, GU for next week, what I want to see is the clear bias of this market. Right now it's slightly unclear because we had this consolidation, we had the bullish push, but right now the market is returning and leaving a wick. So the end of the day, it looks pretty bullish to me with that rejection. So what I want to see, guys, always keep it simple. Mark your level. So this is the highest point. What we want to see is a break of that level. So if this level breaks, then we turn bullish. And what I want to see as well is this little zone right here and how it's going to hold. Hourly time frame is not that clear, but I catch the 4-hourly zone right here and this week. So if I have a strong bearish engulf right here, it will be pretty important to break this area because it's of a very strong supportive region. So if we break below, we will retest and we will head lower, maybe to 1.11. Do we have? Yeah, we don't look on the left. So, but on the daily, extremely overextended. So I would love to see a little pullback on GU. GJ, Japanese yen pair, again, we spiked into the lows of the week right here, and the week actually ends up with a bullish rejection. Daily time frame, we opened just right here. Here was the open. We had a little pullback into that kind of area right here, which we're going to see on the 4-hourly time frame. Flush, a little stop right here, maybe to grab a little bit of liquidity and to provide us with an opportunity. Final push to the downside, and as all the Japanese yens right now, we are having some sort of a pullback. So let me try to find where the opportunity actually is. It is right here at the break and retest of this structure. So the market found support. Then we broke the structure. We came back to retest. But this is actually the end of the week, 13th of March. So we opened right here, but we already had the setup. So we had a gap. The gap was immediately filled. And then we had evidence of the market failing to break above. We had wick, evening star formation, and then a continuation. And then we had this structural point, which was actually, I think this was the opportunity I was talking about, this one. Because there were a lot of perfect break and retests. You see tap, break, lower low, lower high, perfect retest at the EMA and at the structural point. Tweezer tops right here, short opportunity, another pullback, short opportunity, and that's when we started to shift the trend. So again, I think we're having a shift on this one just because while we see a push, pullback, and a push and a clear high. What I want to see in this market is how it's going to continue. I will mark, as always, my structural points. First one is right here. And then this one as a zone because we have broken above the EMA and we're testing it. So let's see if we continue to the upside. Yeah, I will be looking for this one because it looks more bullish to me right now than bearish. GA, so I have the analysis on this one as well. I code this in the community that we will have a manipulation. So I said don't enter, guys. And we had it actually. This happened during Asia. I think it was Aussie news. And we had this massive fake out and immediately bearish engulf. And I said, let's wait for a little bit of a pullback. And I actually had a Fibonacci drawn, something like this. I think it was like this. And yeah, I said, let's wait for at least 50%, 61.8% retracement. And that's when we might continue down. It actually continued down, but I just hate this pair. So I am not trading this one until I see clear structure. Right now, price tried to push down, but again, found support. From this rectangular level, tap to the upside again, retrace. So it's a complete mess. And when you see structure like this, just skip it. And Euro GBP, let's have a look. So we had pretty nice engulfing candle and we had continuation this week. However, we found massive selling pressure from that weekly area at 0.93. So the week closes as a strong rejection. What I would like to see is a little fill because the market just doesn't leave wicks like this. It has to come back to fill them. From the daily time frame, we're having some sort of confirmation. The formation is not that good. Like it's not a clear evening star, but it is. Trend is still up. 4-hourly time frame, we're having the shift though here. So this is my main time frame and this is where I identify what is happening. So what did we have on this market? We found the top right here. The market printed a bearish engulf. So this was the initiation of the pullback. If there were any long opportunities, they would have been here. The market tried to push up but failed to continue and printed a lower low. So for me, the structure right now has shifted and I mark my last lower high. What I want to see, as I said, I want to see a wick fill from the weekly time frame. So maybe a little push to the upside will do. Lower high formation right here, double top of this structure, and then I think I will be looking for longs. Very strong area to monitor is this one at 19.7. Yeah, we can watch 0.91 as well. So this area will be crucial. We want to see a break below. As for support and resistance levels, price may take us down back to the last supportive region, which is at 87,500. So that's for the GBPs, guys. Let's see what happened. It is pretty crucial to see the week, how the market will open on Monday, because we might have some gaps as well. It is madness what is happening right now. So let's be patient. Let's let Monday show us where the direction is going and let's strike later. USD CAD weekly time frame. It's really funny how this is continuing to push, but I believe that it's from oil because oil should be dropping. I haven't had a look from a long time at oil just because all the things are pretty volatile right now and I don't want to risk my capital on oil. Massive bullish engulf right here and a nice continuation. Very volatile candle. Very like, look at the candles right here. And look at the candles right here. So we really have something happening. Daily time frame, the market just continues to push up without a stop. Right now we found, it seems like we found a little bit of a top at 1.46. Bearish and evening star formation, rejection, indicating that we are finding the top, bearish engulf. So we can potentially have a structural shift on the 4-hourly, which is happening. So I told my team, wait for the structural shift first. Don't try to grab the top. You don't need to grab the top if you can get the higher probability setup. So what we have is this little double top and this little higher low. Then the market consolidated for a bit, and after this bearish candle, I knew that we are going down because I identified this little formation right here. So right now, if this was live market, I would short immediately this market if I get my setups on the lower time frames, because we're having a break, we're having structure invalidation, pullback, lower high, 4 hourly rejections. This is everything I want, except from a few other things on the lower time frames. So I'm looking for sales on USD CAD. We don't know where it's going to happen, but just judging this setup, I think that this trend might be reversing. So I want to see how the market will open. We might have some gaps, we might have some spikes to the upside, but I think price found the top because we are already shifting to the downside. We are pulling back again right here. If I have a strong bearish engulf, then I will potentially wait for a little pullback on my lower time frames, and then I will strike the market to the downside. USD Swiss franc weekly time frame. So again, I want you guys to pay attention to the range of that candle. Look how big it is, and look on the left. Do you see candle like this? Like, this is really strong momentum candle, really big volume in the market is entering, so pretty bullish. Actually closing slightly above the last lower high, which is a pretty bullish sign. Going to the daily time frame, we see how the market shifted the trend right here from the 4 hourly, which I'm going to show you right now, and then we just continued pushing up. So pretty buy bias market. What we had here was price finding the bottom, a little consolidation, push pullback, and we started to trend up actually from that point. And since that point, we haven't broken bullish structure. We had break of this one, we had perfect retest. We had break of this one, we had perfect retest. We had a break of this one, and we have a perfect retest right here. You see how many opportunities that we have on USD Swiss? It's brutal. So for next week, what I want to see, so I am monitoring right now that price is finding a little bit of resistance like here, it seems like, but it is market closure, so we cannot judge what is going to happen. What I want to see is how the market will stay above that last zone I drew. So this is my last zone, this is where the EMA is, this is where the last higher low is. If we have a break below, then we potentially might have a reversal and maybe a daily pullback, because we need it. Like on all the pairs, we need a daily pullback because the market has been moving in a straight line, and it doesn't do that for too long. It has to grab some liquidity to the downside. So it's pretty crucial area for this market. If I have a strong break above like this, I will continue buying because this is what the market tells me. I trade what I see, and if we have a break to the downside, I will sell. So let's monitor how the market opens. Let's see where the momentum is going to take us and go with it. USD JPY weekly time frame. So we are having a pretty volatile 4 weeks right here, about a month of information. So it started over right here with this massive bearish engulfing actually a lot of information right here. Then we had a continuation, and then with this big candle that spiked all the way to 101. And this is actually, I believe, around 700 pips. And this is a lot for UJ because its pip range is smaller. This week we had a little pullback to the downside and we continued up. Daily time frame, let's try to break it down. So it looked pretty bearish, this price action, because we actually broke below this complete uptrend. But it was so fast to the downside that the market had to correct. It usually does this. So we had the gap fill, but then the market pulled back, and pay attention, it did not continue lower. And then we even broke and retested on the daily time frame this little structure. So if I go to the 4 hourly time frame, it will become much clearer. We had the gap fill. This is where our a member of the community was looking for sales, but I said, but do you spot this structure right here, which is actually a higher low? Then we had a perfect break, higher high, and after the higher high, I knew we are going up. And we just had upside. Trend line, price respected 0.1, 0.2, 0.3, 0.3 respected. We had an opportunity just right here, because we did not make a higher high. However, the market just had to correct a little bit to go to its mean value. And then we continued up again, break and retest. 4 hourly rejection, bullish engulf opportunity right here, continuation, pullback, rejection opportunity right here, and we actually created even another higher high. So what I can say on this market is that I am going with the trend, I'm going with the momentum. This is my last higher low. As long as price stays above the last higher low, I will keep buying. We might push down to grab liquidity and then explode, or we might break it. As always, I do not exclude this possibility, and then I will be waiting for a confirmation, which is the retest, lower high, and then I will short the market. So as always, go with the flow, follow what the market is telling you. Don't trade what you think, trade what you see. Let's have a look at gold's weekly time frame. So we had this massive bearish engulf the previous week. This week it gave us a little bit of a pullback, tried to push down but failed, and we actually closed as a indecision candle. So what stopped that price from breaking is this very strong weekly area right here at 1450, 1460, this kind of zone. 1450 is a major area in this market. And as you can see from the daily, we had first spike, second spike, the market tried to continue, stopped, final tap of the area, and bullish engulf. So how the week closes, it looks slightly bullish to me. And if we try to break the structure, so we had a short opportunity right here because we were still staying below the last lower high. This was a little bit of a noise right here that tried to push, failed to make a lower low, pushed and made a higher high. So this is a little bit of a shift, but then we dropped lower, consolidated for a bit, bullish pullback, actually a long opportunity right now, which I would have taken on the if the market was live, because we had a strong impulsive move to the upside, breaking all this structure, bullish engulf, and we continue going up. As for next week, so I'm not trading gold right now because of everything that is happening. It's slightly uncertain, not slightly uncertain, it is uncertain. And I will just draw this zone, this big zone at 1450, which is my key area right here. And I want to see how the market will stay above. So I will mark this potential area. If I have a strong impulsive move to the upside breaking above this area, I will look for the pullback and then I will take longs. So let's see if this happens. Yeah, we have quite a lot of support and resistance levels. This one is the first one that I will be targeting at 1600s. And this will be the area that the market will find, but will potentially find resistance when it breaks out. But then we will have a retest. And if the bulls are prevailing, then it will send the price up to the next level at 1600s. Finally, having a look at the US 30, so weekly time frame, a massive bearish engulf. The crash is getting even worse. This is dropping like mad, and I get the feeling that we are going to reach 16,000s right here, where it's a pretty strong supportive level right here. But we shall see. It still has a lot to go to that area, and I cannot predict what is going to happen. We just have to go with the trend. So what happened this week? The market opened right here, and it started immediately with a massive bearish engulf, a little bit of a correction right here, and continuation to the downside. I personally don't trade US 30, but a lot of members of the group traded, and we had quite a lot of short opportunities because the structure is just bearish. We had this lower high, short from here, then the market started to consolidate a bit. I think that someone took a short right here with very quick TP at the bottom because we see that the price failed to break, then pushed up. A little bit of a fake out, because this is a fake out. When the price breaks and then dips, then this is, yeah, I consider this to be a fake out. Then we had a little retest and the market continued to push to the downside. So still, I am focusing on sales. On this one, we have a very strong area in and around this 21,000 is a key area in this market, so that you know, pushing to the downside, this might continue to further downside to create a lower low. After the lower low, we wait for a lower high, maybe a retest of the previous lower low, something like this, maybe a Fibonacci area for further confluence, something like this. Yeah, this is too far a push, but let's see. And this is how I'm looking at this market. I want to see it break below the lower low, which will indicate to me further selling pressure, and I will continue selling. And that's for this week, guys. I really hope you like the analysis. I really hope it will help you in a way to analyze the market or just see the thought process behind. I keep it super simple because this is what works in the market. There is no need to complicate things and yeah, make it harder for yourself. So make sure to slap the like button if you enjoyed the video, subscribe, let me know your thoughts down in the comments. What do you want to see more of me? Do you have any questions that you want me to answer you? I will be glad to do so. And yeah, I just want to thank you for staying up until now. I really appreciate it, and I can't wait to see you on my next video.